Hello and welcome to this special edition of To The Point. It's Human Rights Day, and joining us on this discussion is Justice K G Balakrishnan, who is the chairperson of NHRC itself. Thanks a lot for joining us on this discussion, sir.
Thank you.
First of all, when we talk about this entire idea of human rights in India, what is your assessment of to what extent have we been able to really engage with the various stakeholders, be it the government, be it the administration, or the people of India, to really approach life with the idea of and the ideals of human rights?
We are expanding the human rights values and try to promote and protect the human rights in almost all segments of life. The marginalized section, children, women, the project affected people, the health matters, fluorosis, silicosis, then prisons, mental health, bonded labor, child labor. Our subject is vast, because the population of this country and the problems of this country are vast.
Absolutely. When the NHRC came into being, say, in the early 90s, in 1993, obviously a number of problems, even the country was going through a number of issues in terms of, just getting all the various segments of the society together. You had specific issues, for example, in Kashmir, for example, in other parts of India. How would you rate the progress of India as a nation in terms of its approach towards human rights?
We were able to do something in the human rights issue, because now the large number of petitions received by the Commission itself shows that we are able to reach the people. And now the 94,000 complaints we received this year, 2012. Yes. So that means that people are aware of their rights, people are serious and sending complaints to the Commission. Apart from this is only the complaints. We are doing various other thematic issues. We are very, very active.
So take us through, the approach of NHRC, the way it approaches issues. For example, I was going through some of your reports. There are clear signs of, when there is something comes into the media, that's taken notice of. At the same time, individual complaints are being addressed. What's the procedure largely when it comes to, approaching specific issues?
Individual can make complaint to the Human Rights Commission.
Yes.
We also take take cognizance of the various issues reported in the press, reported by NGOs, yes. Not only by affected people, but other people also can bring to the notice of the Commission the various problems affecting the human rights. Then we take to cognizance and we ask for a report, call for the authorities, what is the problem, and request them to send a report at the earliest.
Okay. If I could just maybe try and understand in terms of NHRC and the way it has approached some of the cases, there is often criticism that in terms of its powers, NHRC maybe has limited power.
That is they compare it with a court of law. We don't have the powers of the court of law. It's a quasi-judicial body, of course, but it is a recommendatory body. But I should hasten to add that the recommendations of the National Human Rights Commissions are respected and fully complied with. 98% of our recommendations are complied with. That is the confidence reposed by the various state governments in NHRC.
Okay. So
we are satisfied that our powers are sufficient to work in the human rights field.
Okay, and that also brings us, you mentioned the states there. There's also a lot of coordination that happens between, the state and center, especially when it comes to issues of human rights. Now, you are an autonomous body. There are autonomous bodies at state level as well. How do you try to ensure that, the overlap works out and all the coordination really works between states?
There are state commissions. There are 23 state commissions in various states. They also get complaints and dispose of the complaints. We also, on some of the issues, people may go to the state commission, also the National Human Rights Commission. But if the state commission has already taken cognizance and already proceeded with the matter, we keep quiet and we don't further proceed, and inform the complainant that as the State Commission has taken cognizance early, so we are not doing anything. We also send compliance to the State Commission.
Okay.
We in some of the, but if it is a serious nature, the have some all India dimensions, we don't send it to the State Commission. We ourselves proceed with the matter and try to address the grievances of the complainant.
Recently, NHRC has also been, taking note of issues around Kashmir as well, and to a large extent is also questioning the state government there on why the ambit is NHRC is kept away from it. How do you think is this entire process expected to really unfold?
As regards Kashmir, the NHRC has got only limited powers.
Yes.
Because only the subjects enshrined in the union list or in the concurrent list alone we can take cognizance.
Okay.
But there are certain larger issues which we take cognizance and ask the state government to give report. Serious violations of human rights, and as regards army, of course, as you know, under section 19 of the act, we seek report from the government, the defense ministry, and they give the report. And several cases we are able to provide solace to some of the victims of human rights violations.
You also have investigative rights in that sense. You're able to have your own independent inquiry on issues. To what extent do you think have you been able to really use these tools when it comes to specific cases, for example, around terrorism as well as militancy?
Regarding militancy, our team went to Dantewada in Chhattisgarh. We have got a very extensive report in militant, because the police has got the all wherewithal to go to these places and to talk to the people, and that report was filed before the Supreme Court.
Okay.
So under even in Northeast, our team has gone, Assam our team had gone and gave a report, but we are mainly concerned with the relief camps, how these the poor people who are in the relief camp were provided with food, health facilities and all. So we are, our team is very active. There is a officer in the rank of Director General of Police and DSPs and DIGs and series of police officers with the NHRC.
There's also criticism now that we're discussing especially these regions, that to a large extent NHRC is a body that would take note of it, but eventually the recommendations are not really against, say, police officers, for example. So there's no recommendation that would suggest that there should be prosecution of, for example, XYZ police officer who was maybe involved in a particular case where there could be excesses against just a normal man.
No.
So how do you?
No. In serious matters, whether it is police officer or revenue officials, in serious matters, we ask the government to initiate prosecution.
Okay.
If not that serious, but it could be departmental proceedings could be initiated against him, we direct the state government to initiate, or the department to initiate departmental proceedings.
Okay.
And the culpability cannot be fixed on a particular individual or a group of individuals. There is no use in asking them to prosecute or anything. So then we ask the state government to pay compensation.
Okay.
But the state government, especially in UP, they fix up the responsibility with some of the officers and ask these officers to pay compensation. Instead of the state paying the compensation, the officers are constrained they are forced to pay compensation.
All right. Justice K G Balakrishnan, we'll take a quick break now. When we come back, we'll take a look at some other issues that are around this entire debate around human rights, especially in a vast country like India, where there are a number of identities, a number of multicultural thoughts that define and try to define the idea of human rights. But that after a break. Welcome back. We are in conversation with Justice K G Balakrishnan, the chairperson of NHRC. Thanks a lot, sir. We're talking about how the NHRC really functions, and we're also then trying to, find out what is the connection between, what really happens on the ground and where can NHRC really come in. We were talking about, for example, areas around, say Dantewada, areas in central India where there's a lot of this Maoist problem. And there's also this question that maybe because of the way the police approaches them, you have this entire cycle of violence where some of the locals may get alienated with the administration. How would you say can that problem be bridged from a human rights perspective?
In Naxal-affected area, there are serious problems. There's some areas the schools are not closed. Schools are closed. The children are not getting education.
Yes.
The health service is not fully there. Yes. All these problems we are trying to solve it.
Okay.
Then in state of Orissa and other states, the poverty-stricken districts, there also we go start the health clinics, schools, noon feeding, all this, then the Anganwadis.
So you get,
all these,
do you get a lot of complaints from these areas about human rights excesses?
Yes. We get a lot of complaints on this issue. Even if we don't have complaints, we have got special rapporteur in all the states.
Yes.
The special rapporteur go visit the states and give a very detailed report. And last week we got a very detailed report about the various issues in the state of 2 districts in state of Orissa.
Yes, yes. Now let's move to another contentious area, which is that of custodial deaths and also the question of fake encounters that brings about question marks over policing and maybe how reforms can really help and address that problem. What, in your view, could really be the way to really ensure that the idea of human rights is coming down and is being understood by a lot of police officers and personnel as well?
Custodial death and this encounter, these are all, we, National Human Rights Commission, take it extremely serious subjects.
Yes.
Custodial death, if there is any death in police custody, we ask for post-mortem report.
Yes.
Then the various other reports, even if it is death by firearms, we seek for ballistic experts report, previous treatment records, we direct that there should be a magisterial inquiry by judicial magistrate. So we get all the reports. Then also our team would sometimes visit and examine it, and ultimately we decide whether it is a encounter by the police which was necessitated, or it was a false encounter or fake encounter. So we are make a thorough scrutiny of that. That is why we are in 191 cases. It is since last 191.
That report went to the Supreme Court as well.
Supreme Court.
Yes.
And this is the fake encounters. And I must also say that the fake encounters number has come down drastically.
Okay.
I don't want to mention the states, but in some of the states it has come down considerably. And the police, and we also sensitize the police. Police and also the border security force and all these people, all these paramilitary forces which come into contact with the people. So sensitization programs are there.
Courses that they can actually deploy.
Open university national.
But then, the other question comes in from human rights groups where they say that, no police officer is prosecuted in most of these cases around fake encounters as well. So while there is admission that there was a fake encounter, but to a large extent, maybe a lot of them are still in service. How would you look at that?
There are prosecutions. Some of in UP, one police officer was sentenced to life imprisonment for encounter.
Okay.
There's not in recent years, but about a few years back, there was a.
I'm trying to understand this impunity, the question of impunity. To what extent can NHRC really come in and ensure that this continued impunity with which some of the probably police officers could really work in a setup that really can be addressed?
We requested the state government that there should be a DGP for human rights. In almost all the states, now there is a DGP for human rights on human rights issues. That is how our sensitization programs have shown success in the department. They are also very serious about this false encounter. There was a stage when they wanted to finish the criminals by this sort of fake encounter. That I think that culture is that sort of
has been addressed.
It has dwindled considerably. It is now very low. That is what we nowadays we rarely hear the police encounter.
Yes, yes. And still sticking to policing, there is also this another issue of a lot of people getting arrested and cases really going on for years, and some of them actually getting acquitted after 15 odd years. What really can be done for these people?
That is when I was holding the previous position also, that we should have more courts.
Yes.
It should be. We cannot, no court can handle a large number of cases. Yes. We should, state must invest money, infrastructure, they provide infrastructure for more courts. Yes. That is the only way which can, you look at the fast track courts, the many cases we could complete it.
So would you suggest that in the absence of a strong judicial infrastructure, human rights can become a casualty?
Yes, certainly. Provide justice to citizen is a basic duty of the state, and if there is a violation, that is the right to life and liberty and equality, and all the components of human rights are violated when there is a denied and delayed justice.
All right. We'll take another quick break, Justice Balakrishnan. We'll come back to all those aspects after a break. Welcome back. We're in conversation with Justice K G Balakrishnan, Chairperson of the NHRC. Thanks a lot, sir, once again. Human Rights Day is being observed by the world, and there's a lot of stress world over. There are problems, there are conflicts in the world as well. The way the world is progressing, the areas where we are moving, there are a number of challenges that come with it in terms of be it employment, be it the kind of medical facilities. To what extent do you think can all these issues at least be acknowledged by the society we live in?
Human rights issue is a large one, yes. And now the various human rights institutions all over the world, they are focusing attention on various issues. Last month there was a conference in Jordan. They were mainly concerned with the rights of women and children, and also the corporate responsibility.
Sure.
Because the human rights violations on health, for example, the drug prices and drug trial, these are all issues. Then also the lack of medical facilities in some places. So health issues, they are all health manufacturers of medicines are corporate people.
Sure.
The corporate, we want to create a corporate ethics. This is a global problem. It is faced by many countries.
Especially in the wake of globalization in the world, it's affecting more people.
Then various environmental protection, and then health issues. Then there is so many issues on health. Drug trial. India has got a serious problem. We are told that large number of patients are subjected to drug trial without following any proper ethics. That is the problem. So they are not paid adequate compensation. They are not told the consequences of their drug trial, and they are also there is no voluntary submission to this drug trial. There is a case pending in the Supreme Court. We are intervening in that case. So the issues are various.
Absolutely. Also, in terms of the way this institution interacts with the government and various other bodies of the government and ministries in terms of their approach, even legislature. to what extent do you think you can really come in? Like I remember, just as a case, recently there's also a talk about, for example, some of the bills like amendments to UAPA could become a little, they may get into areas that affect human rights as a principle. Would you say that there is scope for NHRC to really intervene when it comes to even legislation?
Yes, yes. Yeah, on several legislations, they refer to NHRC for our opinion, and at the initial stage, for example, the laws relating to terrorist
Yes,
act,
anti-terrorism.
anti-terrorism act, that is referred to. We suggested 2-3 major amendments.
Yes.
The word itself, it should be amended.
Yes.
And the term itself, definition also should be changed.
Yes.
And also the it was 1 year time was it should be, that also should be amended. We suggested amendment. Still the bill is pending with the parliamentary committee. Various other issues are referred to. The Aadhaar card, regarding Aadhaar card, it was referred to the commission. We said that the Aadhaar card is going to be the basis for giving out several rights to the people.
Yes.
Nobody should be denied the rights merely because he doesn't have the
card, yes.
Aadhaar card.
Yes.
So, unless a stage we reach that all the citizens of this country has got the Aadhaar card.
Yes.
So, all issues we give our opinion, and it is respected by the authorities.
Okay, so what is the next step for NHRC? You've been with the NHRC for 2.5 years now. In your experience, what are structurally the areas where improvement can really be made?
Structurally, we are satisfied with the only that more and more staff. We should have more and more. When the number of complaints are increasing, we should have more men forces. So that is one thing we are in dire need of.
Okay.
But we expand our. We are going to the various states on various issues. Recently, for open hearing was held for the atrocities against Dalit in the various states, in state of Tamil Nadu, state of Gujarat, Rajasthan, and we are thinking of going to Maharashtra. But next time we are thinking of having open hearing, and all the members may go to various states to deal with the various problems. So we are trying to expand the work of the NHRC in all India level in the strict full sense.
Yes. Also, there was another contentious issue which was being debated around at the United Nations, was obviously that of death penalty. And there's a lot of consensus building in the world on whether the world can really come to a point where we can do away with it from a human rights perspective. What is your take on the idea of death penalty?
Because the death penalty has been described in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights as a unreasonable and irrational punishment.
Okay.
So, as a chairperson of NHRC, I cannot support death penalty, but we have to bear in mind the Indian conditions, the large number of murder taking place in this country, and we are very, very careful to see that death penalty is not is imposed just casually. There is the High Court judgment, Sessions Court judgment, then also the Supreme Court judgment, then the mercy petitions, the right of appeal is there, the procedure, all. And we execute only very few people. The last 5 years only.
Just the only incident was Kasab,
yes. No other.
That's true. But in that sense, what is the argument that really goes for death penalty? Is it deterrence?
It may have some deterrence, but it is impossible to show it in a systematic manner.
Okay.
But it may have a deterrence. Once it is the death penalty is removed, we do not know what would be the number of increase in the murder case. Yes, we are more concerned with the murder is a large number of murder take place in this country. Even for very, very silly, flimsy reasons, the murder are committed.
Okay, just towards conclusion now, sir. What, in your view, could be really done to improve the idea of human rights in a country like India? You know, we've seen a number of people getting affected, but to a large extent not really aware of the fact that, you know, they have human rights and maybe they can use it to pursue their concerns.
The human rights, the wider net should be expanded on the various issues, because the problems of this country is quite large, and so we have to want environmental protection, health, then the rights of the basic rights of the people, and the right to life as defined by the Supreme Court in a very, very large and wide manner. So everything comes under the right to life, and so in that way, every possible denial of right would come under the denial of the violation of human rights. So we know our duties are very, very, very wide, and we have to miles to go in discharge of these duties.
And miles to go, but are we moving in the right direction?
Yes,
just
yes,
in conclusion,
we
you're
are.
confident that, the infrastructure that's in place for human rights,
infrastructure will come. I don't think there will be
in terms
any
of
problem.
institutions,
It will come naturally. When how can we deny rights to the people for a long time? In every field we are. The change in Delhi itself is, you see, the very great changes have taken place in the basic. Human infrastructure also could be widened. I don't think there is. I am very, very positive and very optimistic of the future of the National Human Rights Commission.
All right. Thanks a lot for talking to us, Justice K G Balakrishnan. It was a pleasure talking to you and also trying to understand the way the various institutions are related to human rights really work. Thanks a lot for speaking with us.
Thank you. Thank you.